Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish. They're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to Kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
And I'm Scott Wakefield, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we talk about comic books and all kinds of great storytelling, sometimes with incredible guests. And we want you to join us Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Oh, we all made it by the skin of our teeth.
Oh my gosh, I'm saying, right?
I know. Welcome.
Dinosaur. It's a miracle I haven't blown up the whole system.
Well, there are worse dinosaurs out there. Trust me on this. Hi, everybody.
No names.
Yeah, the big Tyrannosaurus Kev. That's what I'm billed as.
Hello, everybody. This is your Wednesday Wham crew. We are guests tonight. Both Roland Mann is popping in. Usually he's on the Sunday show, but he was so excited about our special guest tonight that he decided to pop in to our podcast. And of course, Rob, the venerable Davis of Star Trek fame, and myself, who's, just everything fame. And our special guest tonight is Kevin West, who I have known since the 90s. He worked at Malibu along with Roland and I. And you were at Malibu too, weren't you, Rob?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was over on the Star Trek book, the Deep Space Nine book that they were doing at the time. But before that, I'd worked with Eternity and some of the others. It's all the precursors to what became Malibu.
Oh yeah, I was with Eternity and then Adventure and then eventually the Ultraverse.
And then eventually it all turned into Malibu, which was it was a good move to put it all under one house.
Yeah,
I
it
thought.
was.
Yeah, and it's a great name.
It was always funny because part of the joke was Malibu Comics was not located in Malibu.
No, it was Thousand Oaks or something.
Well, it was first it was Westlake Village, and then it was Calabasas.
Calabasas. That's
Yeah.
right. That's where I went. That's when I had to send stuff. That's where I sent it.
Yeah, actually, and before I went out there, it was Newberry Park. I think there was because I remember a Newberry.
I think
Yeah.
that
So you know what?
predates
All
me
those
as well.
things are way too big for a logo.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Newberry Park Comics.
Yeah,
Newberry Park Comics. Who wants to buy that?
It just doesn't have the same ring.
Yeah, Malibu was just that was inspiration, definitely. Whoever came up with
Definitely.
that,
Is that where you
I thought it was
started?
great.
Is that where you started, Kevin? Was that a Malibu?
Kevin, yeah.
Or were
No. I'd already been working for Marvel and DC before that. Malibu
Yeah,
was
I thought-
actually my third stop. I was there at the end, basically. I think I drew
Me
a couple
too.
of issues.
Weren't
of
we
stuff.
all?
Yeah,
We
I mean,
all-
right. You know what, though?
Wow.
That's my curse. Everybody I've ever worked for, other than DC, has gone bankrupt.
I managed the Ultraverse Marvel crossover with George Perez. That I managed the Avengers crossover, and then they
See,
folded it.
Now Comics, Innovation, Malibu, all went at one point.
Oh, I wiped out
and
Acclaim.
Marvel.
Oh, good.
Okay,
I kept it going. Oh yeah, I kept
Oh
it going.
man,
after
you
that.
kept it going, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, I almost put
Oh,
Marvel down.
gee.
They had to file bankruptcy, but at least they stayed in business. Dark Horse was the only one that was smart enough to dodge me.
Oh, the jinx. Kevin West.
You know what?
the jinx, eh?
Keep it on the down low. No one ever figured
Don't
it
tell
out.
anybody, right?
I
Okay.
suspect Mike Richardson. That's the Dark Horse guy, right? Richardson.
Yeah.
I think he had figured it out because at one point I was talking to one of the editors at the time I'd sent samples to, and he's kind of like, "Oh yeah, we like your stuff. Let's see if we can get you on a project." And so we started talking about it. Next thing you know, I call him, and he's like, kind of like, "Yeah, talk to the boss, and we kind of want to go in a different direction." And I'm like, "Damn it, you figured it out."
Oh man.
Vic has chimed in. Vic is one of our regulars. What's up, Vic? He says, Kevin, no offense, but please stay away from Silverline with that record. Vic, I hate to tell you this, but Kevin's already been on board. He
Yeah.
yeah, he did some Divinity stuff. In fact, Kevin, you did the skateboard one, didn't you?
I did. Well, that's why
Yeah.
you so far. It was only a pinup. If when you take the deep dive, now I got you.
Well, shoot, I guess I need to delete my email to you then.
Yeah. Now you're in trouble.
Are you
Now you're
are
in
you
trouble.
ringing Barb?
Yes,
Yeah. That happens to me
my
too.
husband left the phone in here.
Just throw it across the room.
Yes,
Yeah, I keep wanting to. My son keeps calling to talk about pickleball. Oh my god!
Well, you can always do that thing. You can answer him and say, "I'm on a live stream right now. What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
Pickleball.
Well, I
What is
don't
this?
usually have the phone in here with me. Dick usually remembers to take it out, but he forgot tonight. All right, I have some cool things to share. So I don't know if anybody is familiar with Kevin's work, but his line work is so beautiful, and I want
thank
everybody.
you. You're way too kind. It's a
I want
mess.
everybody
It's a
just-
scratchy mess.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, scratchy mess, right? Everybody, the line work he does is just gorgeous. He's known for his
Yeah.
beautiful detail, and I want you guys all
Yeah.
to appreciate.
Yeah, I love that. I love the flow in the hair.
Mm.
Yeah. Very nice.
You know what? I made a mistake a bunch of years ago. I was doing a commission. I was on the phone at the time, so I just kept noodling on the hair and not paying attention. Then the next thing you know, I got this monster head of hair. Then all of a sudden, I got other people with commissions. I want big hair on it too. I'm like, yeah, I bet you do. Jesus, now,
Bet
now
you
I'm
do.
Big
screwed.
hair.
Now I'm screwed.
Yeah, it's sometimes the thing is sometimes your mistakes have to turn into a technique if they look nice. So that's essentially sounds like what happened here.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened.
We have
Yeah, whoops.
Poison Ivy here. Yeah, well, I
I'm gonna
really,
blow
really,
that up.
you have a very organic style that is just stunningly
Yeah.
gorgeous. Did you develop that like over the years, or is that the way you originally started out?
Um, you know what? I actually had an interesting conversation about this with Jeff Isherwood. Basically, when I got out of college, and then I wasn't, thinking about doing comics at that point. I was more doing illustration stuff. So my work had always been more realistic, that kind of thing. And then I kind of got back into comics. And then for like the first year or so, I was trying then to kind of like, okay, now how do I adapt what I was doing back into basically how comics are drawn kind of thing? Because obviously it was a different thing at the time, especially. And then once that got going, then I just kind of would pay attention to what the house trends were to a degree, right? And I did have one of my early Marvel editors had subtly encouraged me to pay attention to Jim Lee. And
Or the image
that
style.
was just how I started to do the rendering and the shading and that kind of stuff. But I mean, ultimately, I changed it up again when I was in the early 2000s, just because the way everyone was doing color had changed.
Yeah.
So I was going just to more, not so much of the feathering, but just solid, black shapes and whatnot. Then I was letting the color model out the rest of it. And then we finally arrived to where we are today, which is, finally all that kind of realistic line work has come back. Blacks are used as a color again, because for the longest time, people were just starting to outline stuff and they were colored like coloring books.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden it's like, okay, now it's finally a happy merger between, where I was 30 years ago and where I am now.
That's a very good point. You have made a very good point about art styles.
Yeah. Who are some of your influences?
As a commercial artist, you got to kind of pay attention to the house trends a little bit. I wasn't so much aping people so much, but you got to be realistic. If you're doing something that's totally in a different direction, then you're not going to get hired. It's just that simple.
I would have editors say to me, "Can you do an image style inking?" Okay, yeah, sure, I can do that. Can you give She-Hulk burn hair? Sure, break out the brush.
Yeah, right. Curly hair for everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Kevin, who were some of your influences when you were younger?
You know what? Grew up in the 70s, so it was the same batch of guys as everybody else. Loving John Buscema.
Man.
You know what? Actually, I didn't appreciate Kirby at the time when I first really started coming across him, right? It was when he had started to return to Marvel and he started doing covers, right? And this was like 78, something like that, right? Yeah. And when you're used to all this other stuff, kind of the Buscemas and, what John Romita was doing and all of a sudden it's kind of like, what's this blocky, goofy looking crap?
I felt the same thing.
Yeah.
Until I really, further went along and started diving more into the back issues on some of the books that I liked, like Thor and stuff like this, where obviously you couldn't touch that stuff without being knee deep in Kirby. And then I grew to appreciate exactly what he was doing, exactly what his strong suits were, which are just colossal. So there was that. And yeah, you know what? I had the same kind of a vibe with Gene Colan too. It's like, his anatomy was just kind of so stretched out and exaggerated at times. And until I realized what he was doing, it's like, no, that's actually the exaggerations are what's moving the page and moving the actions. Like, well, look at that. It's good.
Yep.
Who was the Invaders artist? I had that with the Invaders artist.
Frank Robbins.
Frank Robbins, yeah. They used to always look like they're prancing around, and I didn't like that when I was a kid,
I mean, the king of the ballet.
Ballet, right? And it's like I didn't like it when I was a kid. I liked the Invaders, and I liked the team, and I liked the book, but the artwork, there was just something about it. I'm like, I don't like all that, right? But as I got older, I'm like, okay, I kind of like this now.
If I can say,
I came around a little bit on him.
It seems like you also have a bit of a Bernie Wrightson influence here.
Yes, I see some of that. Whether it's intentional or not, I see it in there. Yeah,
it's inadvertent. I started, like I say, once I started shifting things back around a little bit. I just started paying attention to more light and shadows.
Speaking of
speaking of Kirby,
I got a little
burn, and I see a little Starlin in there. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I got Adam Warlock in the middle, and that was my little, homage to Gil Kane.
Yeah.
This is a 2-page spread.
How
long did it take you?
Commission. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even keep track anymore.
It took too
This is
long.
a commission. Somebody commissioned you to. You usually charge per figure. Boy, this is a pretty pen.
Well, generally on stuff like that, I'll have a charge for an individual figure, and then it will double for 2. And then once you start getting into like 4 or 5, that kind of thing, after a while, I start to kind of chalk them up as detailed background. Because the figures are so tiny, and you're not, all of a sudden you're not really being able to focus on facial expressions and all that other kind of stuff because the head is like 1/8 of an inch big on the board. So I look at it more of just now you're just starting to cover surfaces. If you were doing like a dense cityscape or something like that. So I charge differently on that, because of that.
What was the size on that?
It was basically just a straight comic board double-page spread.
Okay.
So 22 by 17, I guess, right?
22 by 17, yeah.
And just to prove that he works in more than just pen and ink, we have a little Elvis.
Well, thank you very much.
There you go.
Yeah,
I did that. I have a return client. I've been working with them for years, and they do like home decor kind of stuff, statues, urns, whatever. And I'll do illustrations from them from time to time. And this was actually an Elvis piece. I think I did 3 of them they were pitching basically to do this series of statues that were going to be based on that. So that's what that was for. And like I said, I've done a bunch of stuff for them too. I did, I think the scariest project, the last one I did for them, which was last year sometime, they were looking to try and do these Frank Frazetta statues. Ooh. So they had me draw this one character. He's like riding up on a horse. I'm not sure what the name of the piece was exactly, but then they also had me do Berserker, and I'm horrified. I'm like, I'm going to draw Frank Frazetta, and it's, that's going to fly. And then on top of that too, when you actually look at the Frazetta pieces, edges of it and everything else become very impressionistic. And it's like, no, if I'm drawing the horse, it's got to be a solid horse. You got to be able to mount it onto a statue and everything else. And I'm trying to guess where the horse legs would go and all this stuff. And I'm like, they're just going to kill me on this.
Well, you do very beautiful tonal work. Here's another example. Red Sonja.
Yeah. I like to refer to her now as Too Skinny Sonia. That was
I tried to make her, babe.
I tried to make her kind of streamlined, athletic looking, and she kind of just looks a little more, not like burly fighting athletic, but more kind of swimmer athletic kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what I would have said.
But
swimmer.
You're still very good with the tonal work.
Yeah.
And
I love the shadowing.
Well, actually, that is probably the most direct thing that comes out of, when I was a lot younger. When I was doing tonal pencils, that's what it looked like.
Well, they're beautiful. And then you just learn to translate this into black and white. Pen and ink.
Well, yeah, and learn to translate into a comic style, which is, and as you all know, comic art is different than anything else under the sun. It's not exactly illustration. It's not exactly cartoons.
Right.
It falls in this middle ground, and you literally have to know like a bunch of different techniques and a bunch of different disciplines at once that you normally wouldn't have to do if you were just doing illustrations or anything else. And we're not designing cars, we got to draw cars all the time. And we're not doing buildings, but we got to draw buildings all the time. So it is.
You're not an architect, but they don't care. And just to prove that you were multi-talented, we get a color piece too. And we were just discussing this, that you like to use, was it Copic markers?
Oh my God! No, I'm not crazy about
Prisma.
I primarily use Prismacolor. I do use some Copics. Just when it comes to a question of for the color that I want, kind of thing. but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Copics just because of the size of the nibs. Generally when I'm doing these things, and the Prismacolor had a wider square nib on the end of it, so you can cover more ground. There you go. There you go, baby. Well, you know what? You and me, we're screwed. They're out of business, and I'm like, now I don't know what to do. I'm never going to color everything again in my life. I'm retired.
Dick Blick has some that are close. They're not quite as good, but they're close.
Oh yeah, it's nutty. It's nutty. So, I'm gonna have to experiment a little bit and find out what I can use for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we had discussed this on the phone yesterday that you could always fall back on the inks. What
the Martins or the
Doc Martens inks.
Martens,
yeah, Doc Martens inks and colored pencil would work.
Yes, or watercolor. I used to do. I used to paint back in the day too.
Yeah, I have liquid watercolors. I use sometimes.
Well, you know what? I actually have a bachelor's of fine arts. The fine arts meaning the unemployed fine arts.
Yes, my son has one of those too. He has a degree in fine arts and he's a master sergeant in the Air Force. So you know how that goes.
But he can draw cool shit. So
yeah.
So David Rios, who was a Malibu colorist back in the day, said, when I colored some of Kevin's stuff in the 90s, his line art was great to color, nice and clean.
Yep.
There you go.
It's easy. Yep.
There you go.
Now you have a fascination, it seems, with horror.
Yeah,
illustrations, don't you?
The
You
more
have a
monsters,
lot
the
of
better.
Is this
More Iron Maiden, I think.
Yeah, is this Ernie?
I ended
is
up
this
doing a
Ernie
series
Head?
for Iron.
Yes. Yeah. Cool.
That's Evil Ernie, isn't it? Yeah.
Evil Ernie.
No, this is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Evil Ernie.
Yeah, that's Evil Ernie.
from.
Okay, and this is Eddie. This is Eddie.
That's
Yeah,
Eddie.
there you
That's
go.
Eddie.
That's Eddie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes,
his hair
Eddie
is
T-Head.
just stunning.
His hair is stunning.
I could see him in a shampoo commercial.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to this one because the detail on here is just magnificent. I just love how the hands are just, you got every detail in those hands. You can actually almost see.
There's that doodling hair again too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
At least that was a big black shape, which is I get some squiggles on it. I'm all good.
that
If
kind
he
of
was
looks like
blonde,
Polito's hair
I'd
from
still be
the.
drawn if he was blonde.
That kind of looks like Polito's hair from the 80s, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I see pictures, and apparently there was a little bit of an inspiration that he cranked out there.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll go back to Eddie here, and then on to the Crypt Keeper.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
good.
Are you
baby.
sensing a theme here? You have a lot of horror. Didn't you do some stuff for Creep Show?
Yeah, I'm working on the TV series.
What?
Yeah, because same as like the movie, right? They have like the transitional scenes where they'll go like to a comic page kind of thing. So yeah, I've worked on several episodes where I've basically drawn comic book style versions of either photo ref when it goes to a straight. They'll do like the scene, and then the image will then shift into a drawn version of it. So,
Cool.
but Greg Nicotero, he wanted that stuff to look like comics, not just like a lot of guys these days where you're just kind of digitally making line work out of a photo kind
Right.
of thing. And he
Yeah,
didn't
heighten
want
the
that.
contrast and then color it.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. So we wanted to have a little more of an EC feel to it. So,
Sweet.
You've
yeah,
got that
I've done
here.
some pages for that, and and then
Oh, yeah.
every October I just post a bunch of stuff on Facebook. It's Kev's Monster Fest, baby. I did 30 days, 31 days. Yeah.
31
Along
days
with
of
that,
monsters.
also,
Yeah.
well,
Have you
I
done
got
any?
the old witch, I got Vault Keeper, and I got Ernie.
Yeah.
Well, there's some
From
there's some
Erie.
conventions out there that do horror. Have you done
You know what?
Have you
I
done
am-
any
I
of
am-
those?
Yep, no, I have not yet, and I definitely want to do that.
Yeah, there was
kinda
one
working
in
on,
Kansas City a couple of weeks ago, and I've done vampires and Dracula's daughter, and I'm thinking I should go to one of those. Yeah, so I should go to those and bring along some prints and do some sketches and stuff. And I was wondering if you were thinking about that as well.
Absolutely.
That
Well,
would be
I'm out.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
This is my
Go ahead.
worst nightmare.
Yeah. Well, you told me you like people who talk, so there you go. It's a blab fest now. Get out of the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm out in California, and they got that Monster Palooza thing that goes on
Oh yeah.
a couple times a year. So yeah, I definitely wanted to hit that too. And I figure if anything, that creep show stuff gives me some, street
Oh
cred.
yeah. You got some cred there. Definitely.
Yeah.
You put some of that up, and you'll get some folks coming by your table. Definitely.
Yeah. So
Now I don't remember what character this is.
Krampus, baby, I put him up every.
Krampus, of course it is.
Krampus,
Yeah.
Christmas Krampus. Yep.
There you go. It's Krampus.
Yep. More of your lovely horror work. I'd never heard of Krampus until about 10 years ago. So,
yeah, same about me.
Yeah.
And of course,
Leprechaun
the
for your
leprechaun, and the detail in this is just amazing.
Yeah.
Mm.
God, I suppose this you just flip this off in a couple hours, right?
Yeah.
Big long silence.
Yeah. I got showered up, ready to go to restaurant. My wife was getting ready, so I banged this out. Yeah. Yeah. I had about 25 minutes to kill. So.
Vic says, "I love those Leprechaun movies."
Now,
Leprechaun movies are awesome.
Do you use whiteout too? See, I'm looking at this, or do you?
You know what? When I'm doing sometimes if I make a big enough mess, then I will. When I'm doing like the professional ink jobs, I tend to do it more because, the commission stuff or things I'm just drawing on my own. There's just, it's just more of an organic. It's art feel to it anyway. But now with the professional stuff, that's definitely got to be clean. So yeah, I end up taking paint to it. And again, if we haven't established it yet, dinosaur. So I'm pen on board.
Yeah, you're still like I am. I'm still working on.
Oh yeah,
actual
yeah. Well,
Bristol.
you know what? You and me both. We can be in the old folks' home and.
Well, when we're done, we have original art we can sell. And
I know.
Those
right?
guys working digitally don't. So
I know.
they can make prints, but it's still not an original piece.
You know what? I've had people explain those NFP thing, whatever the hell they are, a bunch of times, and it's never made sense once. So.
Well,
Kevin, I added something to your name there. Dinosaur.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's as bad as venerable.
Soar, dinosaur.
Speaking of dinosaurs.
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
That's
Yeah.
Kevin and I. It's Kevin and I working on Superman.
David Michelini.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was 1996. We were working on this. This is Adventures of Superman Annual number 8, I believe.
Yeah. That was ended up kind of wonky. Basically, when they had asked me if I wanted to work on it, the idea being is that it was going to be broken up into chapters. Then each chapter was going to be drawn by somebody else. I'm like, yeah, sure, it'd be great. If for no other reason, right? I'm getting to draw at least some kind of a Superman anyway.
Yeah,
if not the
me
actual
too.
one. I got guys with the S's on their chest. That's going to have to do.
Oh, but we got some Superman in there. See?
Yep, there you go, hologram.
Yeah.
Oh, mullet Superman.
Yeah, mullet Superman.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Kevin's pencils and my inks. So we did 12 pages together on this particular annual.
Yeah.
So I got to say I did a couple of Superman annuals. So I got to say that I have Superman in my biography. So
there you go. Good enough. It's on the resume.
That's right.
At this point, too, when I was doing these things, I was starting to get into a couple of bad habits as well. I was starting to make everybody like overly muscled, whether it was warranted or not. And for some reason, I don't even know how this happened. I started making eyeballs gigantic. I don't even know what the hell that was all about. I was, like I'd taken a break from the industry for a while, for about 6 years when my kids were little. And then when I started coming back, I was flipping through the old stuff, kind of trying to get back into it. And I'm kind of looking at stuff going, why the heck is every one of these eyeballs as big as a freaking plate? What was I doing?
You think that was maybe a Japanese influence on your work a little?
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, because that was around the time when we were seeing some of that influence, some of the manga influence coming into Western art, into comics,
which comes from Disney, who had big eyes and everything, all of his cartoon stuff, and that.
Well,
I
like you know what? Consider it that I then influenced Joey Mad. Then we're good.
We'll take it.
I do have to agree that the lats on this guy are pretty big.
Yeah, it was
yeah, but it's Superman. Come on.
Yeah, he is. This one's
looks
quite
like
super.
Prime. He looks like Prime.
That's what I mean, right? Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I blame Roland. Yeah, sure. I was working at Malibu, and I'm working on Prime, who's not just muscular, but steroided out muscles.
Roided. He's roided.
Since then.
Vic already said it. He goes, I guess that came from Prime.
There you go. You know it, Vic. Yep, there you have it.
And just so everybody knows, the latest collaboration that we did, this is Kevin's interpretation of my character Divinity.
Yeah, I did not
So
even
he has
realize
done-
that. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
I like that
And
that version of her.
Yeah.
and then I colored it. So
Yeah,
that was
there
one of
you
my first coloring attempts too. Truth to tell.
very good.
All righty.
And even better, now it looks like she's flying out of the sun. You got to enjoy that.
That's right.
And of course, we are joined by Brent T. Larson.
Hi, Brent.
It is that
Right on time.
It is the half hour he comes bopping in. Yep.
So, Kevin, have you tried to write as well as doing the artwork? Have you tried to do your own book at all?
No. I do write in my spare time. I've got a giant file folders of short stories and things I've written and stuff like that. Just
You have spare time?
for fun.
Which is the spare time of which you
At some points I have, yeah, sure. You know what? That's my wife. She says all I do is sit around. So it's, apparently I got a lot of spare time. Yeah, plenty to go around. But I haven't actually written anything that I had submitted anywhere professionally. So.
Well, I was 60 before I got up the nerve to step out of my comfort zone and do it. But, you've got plenty of time. You're just a young buck.
That's what I'm going with. that's what I'm saying.
Okay, what kind of advice would you give to a young up-and-comer these days?
Doing what?
Comics art.
Comics.
Yeah. This is for you,
Find
Vic.
something else to do.
Oh no.
There is that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have something to fall back on.
You know what? I mean, honestly, other than just talking about how to conduct yourself as a professional artist and things you need to work on to learn the trade, that kind of stuff, I wouldn't have any clue as to how to break into the business anymore. It's all different. I mean, there is no more the day of, make 15 different packages and send them out to every editor individually.
Or finding an editor at a convention who will sit down with you.
Yeah.
That's
impossible.
And
they're gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't go to
definitely
shows.
not going to smaller shows.
Mm-mm.
Well, yeah, I could go out to San Diego Comic-Con, snag an DC or Marvel editor, sit down on the floor behind the booth, go through my portfolio, get a job. That doesn't happen.
Oh, nope.
That's how I did it with
I
Malibu.
really wouldn't
Chris
even
Olm
know.
hired me. We sat out in the hallway, and he went through my portfolio and hired me on the spot.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I usually had to blackmail people, get photos ahead of time.
Yeah, that works too.
Then kind of figure out my best way in. Say, well, do you want your wife really to know about this? I don't know. Maybe I need a job.
Now, you did get rid of those pictures, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah, I did. Yeah, they're around. They're not on a flash drive.
Yeah. Dave said, I walked past the San Diego Comic-Con submission section about 30 minutes ago.
Oh,
Wow,
okay.
you're actually listening to the podcast while you're out at SDCC. I
He-
applaud you.
He is.
David, you
he
rock.
actually, Dave actually streamed last night as part of the Tuesday group. He actually streamed from a campground in San Diego. That's commitment. That's
There
commitment.
you go. There you go.
I haven't been out there. I've only been out there twice in the last about 20
Wait.
years.
You're in line to get in right now?
You know what? Actually, I was there a couple, 3 years in a row. One time I was there with
Let's
an
preview
independent
that, yeah.
publisher had asked me if I wanted to go out there with them. I'm kind of like, yeah. And that was actually the first time I'd ever been out there. And then I was
Really?
out there
Really?
for 2 years when we were doing the Iron Maiden project with heavy metal. So I was at their booth a couple of years in a row. So that was all
Really?
covered.
You really have?
Yep.
You've only been there 3 times? I find that hard to believe. And you have
I do
California.
too.
Twice for me.
Well, I did it for a dozen years back to back, and then I did it once in 2014, and then when they had their 25th anniversary panel for Malibu, they wanted me to come out.
You know what? I think I was just at the 50th anniversary, actually, a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Wasn't it around 50 years?
For Malibu?
For Malibu?
No.
Yeah. No. For
Don't age us, dude. Come on.
For SDCC, maybe.
Yeah. Well, from what I've read, Silverline goes back to 1969, apparently.
Conceived at Woodstock, right?
There you go. In a vision. You parked outside of a Volkswagen minivan and outside the bus, hanging out, enjoying the afternoon. And suddenly, it came to him.
Silverline!
Yeah. Vic says, so I should blackmail Roland with pictures of that mullet.
Oh,
You know,
mullet.
actually, all these years, this is actually the first time I've ever seen you face to face. Rob, I think we met way back in the '90s a few times. I think we're at a couple of shows in Chicago.
Maybe it'd be late 80s, early 90s.
Early
By
90s,
like
yeah.
95, 96 is when everything
Chicago
exploded.
Con.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I went
before
to
it became
Chicago
Wizard.
Con a lot.
Yeah.
I went
yes.
every
From
year.
86 to 90, 96, 97, so about 10 years there I went to that show.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Wizard World, and it wasn't
Yeah.
worth going
Since
to.
I-
I stopped.
If you weren't a big name, it wasn't worth going. So
Since
Oh,
I
yeah,
lived
right.
only
I
3
was
hours
never a
away,
big
that
name.
was a no-brainer for me. It was getting out to San
Oh, yeah.
Diego was a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
I grew up right outside of Chicago, so yeah, if I didn't go to that one, then I would just be, you're not even trying.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Was
back
Herbal
back
too?
in the day when you and I used to talk, it was all on the phone. So
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yep.
So I knew your voice, but I there were people I had no idea what they even look like.
There
You
you
know?
go. You just knew I had stunning dulcet tones.
That's right.
What's your-
Here we go. Fruit Bat says Kevin looks deceptively young.
Yes, he does. I'm
well,
absolutely jealous.
It's because I've constructed a time bubble, and I
There we go.
stopped when I was 36. And so there you go. Temporal engineering.
So
at its
where
finest.
is the painting? Where is the painting?
Yeah,
Mr.
that's
Dorian?
right. Yeah, it's getting red. It's getting shabby. Yeah, it's stashed away. It's hidden away someplace, very safe in the middle of the desert.
So what was your favorite project to work on, do you think? I can guess, but I want to hear what you say.
You know what? I'm not a fan of favorite anything or greatest of anything, because I think there's just too many things, and there was too many projects I've just really enjoyed working on, and
I agree.
just based on how I am, whatever the last one was, I'm like better than the first one I did,
So
just because
there-
all I see
yeah.
is a pile of just mistakes.
Well,
So-
maybe a better question would be, which one did you really regret not being able to continue on? or
You know what?
you missed, yeah. Put it that way.
Probably when I was doing Guardians of the Galaxy, just because
Okay.
it came up kind of suddenly. It was kind of like all of a sudden everybody started getting fired. Craig Anderson, who was editing at the time, all of a sudden he's cut loose. Now I got Mark Grunwald, and he didn't, for whatever, not to speak bad of him, but I don't know how much interest he had in that book one way or the other, because I think at the time they were starting to cluster their books by kind of category, cosmic books, and
families.
Avengers books, X books, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Mike Gallagher and I, we had, we talked about the thing constantly, and we were always kind of putting together ideas and stuff like that. And we just had a lot of stuff planned that we wanted to do that we thought would have been exciting story arcs anyway. And since we never got to do those, I would say that was probably the thing I regretted the most.
There you go. That's exactly what I was looking for. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's I think we've all had those.
Yeah.
Where when you wanted to continue and you couldn't for whatever reason, the editor changed or the writer changed and wanted to take a new direction or something.
Bottom falls out of the industry.
Well,
right.
and that's essentially what happened to me. Is that the bottom fell out and all
Companies
the people,
declare bankruptcy,
and all my connections just kind of
figured out I was
scattered to the
behind it.
winds. Yeah, and I'm going, well, So, and there's a point, and I had a mortgage and a couple of young kids, and I'm going, man. So I had to kind of back out of the industry for a while, but I'm retired now, and look out. I'm hoping to do a lot
that's something
more.
that's something that we touched on yesterday during our phone conversation too. Is the big implosion at DC at the end of 2000, around 2000, and all of our editors got fired. I had 2 editors, both got fired, and they brought in whole new people, and they're like, "Who's she?
yeah,
She's only been here a decade. I don't know her.
Oh, yeah.
I'm bringing in my own people."
Yep, that's exactly
Well,
what
it
happens.
was one thing when assistant editors had started to then take over the editorial positions, because at least you still knew everybody.
right. There was some
Still the
continuity.
Editor team. But then all of a sudden it was assistants of assistants, and now it's like, I got no idea.
Yeah.
I
Don't know
got
who
no
she
idea,
is.
guys.
Never
Yeah.
heard of her. I'm bringing in my own
and
people.
then the
You're out
parameters
the
had
door.
changed. If
Yeah.
you weren't established that you could produce numbers, then they weren't interested. So if you were someone like Alan Davis or whatever, great, you're in. If you're me, who? No, you're out.
You
Yeah.
know that you
It
can't even
doesn't-
submit. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but you can't even submit samples to Marvel and DC today. If you were like, "Hey, I want to go work on Spider-Man," you cannot, as a creator, just submit. They won't take them. They no longer accept submissions.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I would have absolutely no idea what to tell somebody as far as how do I get in. I don't know. You tell me. When you find out, let me know.
Well, you know what
Make a name
my
for
stock
yourself.
answer is though, right? My stock answer is always make independent comics. Make independent comics and get recognized. Do some stuff.
That's always kind of the way it's been. I thought
Yeah.
is you start out at the small publishers, or these days it's easy to publish yourself. Really,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really
Make
is.
a name for
Kickstarter
yourself.
was huge. Yeah,
You
Kickstarter
make a name.
changed
I
the
saw.
business.
Hey, I saw Boom Studios was doing a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and
yeah.
they already made something. The Jim Henson thing's already like $430,000, something like
know.
that. It's crazy.
So
We got a
weird.
great question here from Hyper Potato, and he said, "Did Kevin follow procedure and submit a Sergeant Rock drawing to Roland in order to appear on the show?" So what you have to know is Hyper is a huge Sergeant Rock fan. So
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? I flew in the
he's
face
the
of it and
guy.
said, "Here's Nick Fury for your trouble."
Hyper will appreciate that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Here's a little Sergeant Fury, a little pre-Shield Fury for your trouble.
Yeah. With the cigar, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Of course.
with the cigar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
cigar in the
Cigar.
stubble.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is there a
That is
character
pretty
that
much
you've
my
always
groove. There you
wanted
go.
to do? Is there a
Is there any
character you
characters I
always
wanted?
that you've always wanted to do and never got a chance?
Oh
Cat and mouse?
my God. Well, you know what? Actually, growing up, right? the one big character I never got to draw on anything would have been Iron Man.
Really?
Yeah, he was the only one.
my boy.
I got to do War Machine, like
Uh-huh.
on right, but then we got screwed. All of a sudden, it wasn't War Machine; it was goofy, venomized War Machine in a solid black costume with like floaty alien-looking junk around him for weapons. Oh yeah, that was kind of like, come on.
Tony Stark's my boy.
Yeah.
I
So,
never got to
but
do that
growing up,
either.
yeah, he was a favorite character. I never got to do him in one way, shape, or another. I got to do everybody else. Thor would have been my other favorite, but at least I did get to draw him in a. Originally, it was just a fill-in story, and then they ended up using it. It was like Marvel superheroes. They're putting like big 80-page books for a little stretch there. It was one of those things they ended up using it in, and he was fighting the Thermal Man and Loki, and there you go.
Wow.
So at least I got to draw
probably
Thor.
got to do almost every character in DC by doing the trading cards. I didn't work on a lot of the books. I didn't do, but I got to do all the characters on the trading cards. Oh, that was a sweet gig. It was such a sweet gig. You got one 5x7 piece of artwork that you were getting paid more than your regular page rate to do. It's like, oh
Yeah.
I do this all day. I churn about 5 of those out a day, and my whole month was made.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you do sketch cards now, and you'll get $15.
Listen, I've heard that we work with a lot of Kubert grads, and I've heard that what they do is they do these original sketch cards that they include as some of their incentives. And I hear that they just kind of shotgun it. They reach out to all kinds of artists and say, hey, I want you to do 60 cards or whatever. And I hear they get paid like $3 to $5 a card.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's crazy. I know. I would have thought, oh, Marvel's doing this. They're going to pay them more than that. But no. We're talking about, it's a trading card, so it's not huge, but they're only giving them $3 to $5.
And it's not twice up or
No.
half up. It's the actual size. You have to draw an actual size.
But still, I'm thinking $3 to $5. That's not anything. I mean, and we're talking Marvel, Marvel Comics. It's like, what? Come on, guys, $3 to $5
wouldn't do that.
Well, I have done stuff for Rittenhouse. I did a couple for Upper Deck, and I just did one for this independent outfit. They were the only ones that actually paid. Like any real money for it, right? And it was like a 5x7 card that then they reduced. Yeah. But yeah, the Rittenhouse ones, they were better than like some of the other guys that were putting those things out at the time. But I mean, still same kind of thing. It was like $5 a card, no more than $5, probably less. Yeah. Well, the only reason I was doing them is I had free time. And the card, it was generally themed, like Marvel Universe or Bronze Age or whatever. So I would literally get to draw characters that I would never get to draw, and especially in those costumes professionally. If I wanted to draw the Mandarin, I'm doing old school 60s Mandarin, not, I don't know, he evolved into a guy in a suit, like a big, freaking dragon fez on his head. I don't know what the heck they ended up doing. So I got like stuff like that. So I'd be doing those kind of things. But it was actually the funny thing, right? So if we were doing like, especially like the hot female heroes on the cards, there was an outfit, I have no idea who they were, but they must have been buying those cards by the pallet when they came out. Because I wasn't doing a ton of them either. Originally, they wanted you to sign on. Their original deal was like, we don't usually do 300. And I'm like, nah, I'm not doing 300. I'm like, that's not going to happen. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll do as many as I can. And if that works for you, great. And if not, I understand. So they're like, yeah, no, go ahead, do what you can. And I think the biggest batch I did may have been for like an X-Men set or Spider-Man, I forget. It was maybe around 100 of them, something like that. For the most part,
that's
I'm
a lot,
more like 50 of them, so, this kind of deal. Yeah. And well, the other end of it though too is you weren't getting paid on the card, but they would send you artist proof cards. And because that was like a trendy thing at the time, then you could turn around and charge somebody $200 to do one of those things, which was just ridiculous. It always struck me as just freaking ridiculous you could do that. But at least so you ended up making up the money on the back end of it to make the project as a whole. Okay, that actually pulled in a little change for me. Yeah.
Vic has an incredible suggestion here, Kevin. Yeah. I want to make sure we stop just a second and make sure we read Vic's suggestion. He says, I'd love to see Kevin do cat and mouse personally. I agree, Vic. I think that is a fantastic idea.
Well, you know what? I will print cat and mouse. Yeah, watch me go. Watch me go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me pull him up. There you go. You know what? This is the digital age. This is me working.
It is.
Digitally.
Are you about to share something with me here?
Yeah, this is me being digital. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? See, I have trouble just following it, like spelling the letters out, for crying out loud. Where are you? Where are you?
Oh no, he's going to type it.
Yeah, type it. Yeah, that'd be me and more to the point, right? Okay, here we go. Watch my smoke. This is me being high tech. Here we are. I'm on my way to success here right now.
I just got a message while you're clicking, Kevin. I just got a message from John Medic, and he says he wished that he could join and to tell you hi, and that you and him should hang out soon. If you're still in Aurora or nearby, I'll let him know that you're not in Aurora anymore.
Not in Aurora anymore. No. I'm out in. I'm right now.
You literally
roughly,
meant printing out.
California.
Yeah, I'm about as far as you can get. Well, unless I went to Hawaii, I'd have to go to Hawaii.
Oh
again.
my gosh.
Yeah, no, I'm in. We're like pretty much right in between San Diego and Los Angeles. Right now.
Oh.
My wife got transferred. That's nothing to do with me whatsoever. My wife.
Right.
I thought you were going to share a screen, but
There
no,
you
you're
go.
actually-
There you go.
Oh
Crank
yeah.
that out.
That's right.
There, banged it out. There you go.
Yep.
Bang that bad boy out.
That
There
is
you
Look at
go.
that.
gorgeous.
Drawn to order. There you go. All right. Woo, I had to crack the knuckles on that one.
Look there, Vic.
All right.
Ask and you shall receive.
There you have it. There you have it. Let me know if you want carnage too. I can draw one of those real fast. I can draw you carnage in color.
Let's see. I might. Well, I just moved, so I can't find anything.
now I'm gonna
I
have
might
to share
have the
something.
card.
I'm going to have to share.
Oh, wait a
something
minute.
with
Look,
you
I
guys.
do have it.
There it is.
There you go.
There we go. Let me see if I can find my own button here. There you go. Vic, send me an email, and I'll try to remember. I'll look to see if I've got an extra one of these, Vic, and I'll include it in your. Well, assuming that you back the next Kickstarter, I'll include these with your package, Vic.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. If you have it.
All right, I got.
How'd you like that, Rob?
There's
I have a little Kickstarter story for you. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
What
That's right. This
You wanna
isn't
share
no.
this
Oh, it
screen?
used to be
Oh,
great
I'm
when I
sorry,
got
Barb, I
conventions,
didn't see it.
Artists would draw stuff for free.
Okay, so this is how desperate I was. I had the original Divinity for sale on my first Kickstarter, and I was so desperate for it, I bought it off of my own Kickstarter.
Okay. Did you bid against yourself to drive up the price?
I bid against her, and she didn't know it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. She just
Yeah,
kept
so
that
see,
thing
it's right
coming.
next to. I purchased it from myself. Isn't that sad?
Only if you got a good deal.
I'm certain.
No, I paid full price for it.
Oh,
And
man.
it wasn't cheap.
Brent?
What?
Yeah, Brent just said that he.
I said I'm certain no one ever does that in Kickstarter.
Yeah, no way. No way. That'd be almost be as absurd as buying good reviews on Amazon.
No one ever does that.
Yeah, nah, they're all straight up honest. I know. You can tell.
Mm.
You can make a good living doing reviews on Amazon.
Well, if you can, I'm in.
Well, you can make
Yeah.
all that anyway.
Hyper says, I admire Barb's devotion.
Yeah, don't we all?
I couldn't part with it. I put it up for sale on the Kickstarter, and it's like, I can't.
What have I done?
I'm gonna have
That
to buy
is-
it back.
That is one of the problems, I think, as a creator. If you solicit someone to do some art for you to help you out with the Kickstarter, right? You get it in, you're like, oh man, this is beautiful. I don't want to turn loose of this, but I asked for it for the Kickstarter, so I got to, right?
Yeah, no choice.
I gotta-
no choice.
yeah.
Gotta go.
I did the same thing with Mel Ruby's piece. I
Hyper
bought 2
says,
pieces of artwork.
is Barb money laundering?
Yeah, it's about the size of it. That's about the size of dictating
man.
the price.
Mm,
It somehow looks fraudulent to me. I'm not sure.
Yes, yes, I am. Now
Discreet
you've
scam.
heard. Yep, you learned my dirty secret.
the empress of Ponzi schemes.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
Empress
Except that I
of
don't seem to be
Peace.
making any money at it. I'm seeming to be shelling it out because I've
You gotta
got
work
full
your way up
price
the
for it
ladder.
on the Kickstarter.
Any day now.
You gotta work your way to the top of the pyramid.
Yes.
Ah!
No, actually, on one of these pieces I've got up here on the wall, I had my sister buy it for me, and then I paid her back. So it didn't look like I was buying all the artwork.
There you go. True. Very
Oh,
true.
definitely, that does sound like money laundering.
yeah. Barb, you might want to stop now while you're ahead.
Yeah,
I know,
I don't think this is going too well for you right now.
Now you got family members involved. So,
Yeah, that's right.
I'm taking everybody down with me.
Yeah, I don't think the IRS is going to notice this at all.
Yeah. Now, so you moved you moved to California because of your wife. Do you like? How long have you been out there?
How long have we been out here?
Yeah.
Did you say? This is the 6th year.
Okay. Now, do you go to San Diego Comic Con, or will you be there this weekend?
Will not, no.
Will not. Wow.
No,
So-
if no one's actually paying for me to go and paying my
There you
hotel
go.
and I get all this stuff. No, that's why I haven't been there in,
Right.
30 years.
Yeah. It's
pretty
funny
much
when you say that. So if you ever say that, do people act surprised? They're like, why would you not go? I mean, why? But I tell people that, they're like, well, how come you're not going to go to Chicago? I'm like, well, because I can't afford to go to Chicago on my own dime.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
The last time I went to San Diego, it was $5 for a bottle of water and $3 for a banana. They jacked
Yeah,
the
but it was
prices
good
up high
banana
out there.
though, wasn't it?
I thought you were going to
Oh,
say it was
yeah.
$5 to get in.
No, that's
And it threw
I
you
don't think
into
it's
a
ever
tizzy.
been that cheap.
Yeah.
It's just unless somebody's paying your fees. I mean, it's so expensive to go these days.
Yeah,
Or
I-
at least the majority of them, you know?
yeah. I
That's why
roomed
this
with
weekend-
like 5 other guys when I went. The 2 years I went,
Me too.
I was in a hotel. I slept on the floor.
I am not even kidding. I had all my roommates were guys, and they were all fellow artists, but they let me have the bed.
Yeah,
But that's why I'm doing like Peoria, Illinois this weekend because I get paid to go.
Yeah.
Nobody's
yeah.
going to pay
Yeah.
for me to go to San Diego Comic Con,
Yeah, true. But you know what I mean? As far as it, as from a professional standpoint as well, as soon as you go and you're paying your own way, then you have the travel, you have the airfare, you have the hotel, you have the table space, blah blah
The
blah.
food.
So you're starting out in the hole. And
Yes.
now you got to
Yeah.
make sure that you're going to make as much to bare minimum cover it, and then see
Yeah.
some kind of a profit. And most of the time, I would find myself in a deal where it's kind of like, been here all weekend, and I only made like a couple $100. Why did I? I could have been sitting at home, watching Netflix.
Right. Yeah. And it's even harder as and I don't mean to structure this as like a comparison thing, but as a writer, it's tough because you're taking and you're selling $5 books. Now the graphic novels have helped out a little bit because you can sell a $15 or $20 graphic novel, but you still got to move a lot of comics to pay for your own way.
Yes.
And it's tough if you don't. So I have a friend who goes to a lot of shows, and he keeps asking me, "Why aren't you going? Why aren't you going?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not made of money like you are. You go to all these shows, and he just pays for it himself. He buys a table, pays airline tickets, and I'm like, I can't do that. It's like I gotta at least have
did everybody here buy the lottery tickets for tonight?
No, did I miss one? $1 billion?
$1 billion.
Oh my gosh. You know
Yeah.
what? If I did, it would also be like the largest winning in history because all of a sudden 10,000 people would have also won at the same time. So I'd end up with like $25.
Yeah, that's going to be my luck too. It'll be 100,000 people win the same thing I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Romo Art says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Romo? Thanks for stopping by, joining us."
I always told Roland that if I won the lottery, I'd purchase Silverline,
Yeah.
and he'd be my employee.
Yeah.
Nice.
Roland, get me
A coup is
something.
already planned.
But then I could
Give me
at
some
least
coffee.
and I would pay top-notch page rates.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Well, okay then.
So get to winning.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Get to
Well,
winning.
There's the old joke about the guy who every night before he went to bed, he did his prayers and he says, "God, please let me win the lottery." And every night he did this for like a week. Finally, this voice comes down. "Help me out. Buy a ticket."
Yeah.
Gotta buy a ticket to win.
This is
You know?
true.
You can't win if you don't buy a ticket.
This would be true.
Huh.
That's so true.
A valuable tip.
Yeah.
For life, yes. For
Vic says,
good
if I win the lottery, I'm buying the rights to Justice Machine. Mike Gusevich
okay.
might have something to say about that.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't be pleased.
Yeah.
He might
he's-
frown on that a little.
Yeah, he's still alive, you know, Vic.
Well, yeah.
Well,
That brings up a good question, though. Have you ever created a character? An original
Like,
character?
Independently
For
or
anybody.
like as in a company kind of scenario?
In a
either
part of a
way.
company?
I can
Well,
answer
yeah,
that.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, we've created characters over the years on different titles and stuff. Villain characters, that kind of stuff. Characters like Ripjack or something like that was in Guardians. But independently, I haven't. And we were talking about that earlier a little bit. That obviously and especially since the marketplace has changed so much. And like we were talking yesterday, we are living in the golden age right now. As far as just the abundance of material that's out there that involves either superheroes directly or people with powers, or
Yeah.
you even have a cop show. And it's not just cops anymore; it's a psychic cop who can, track bodies and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just really the golden age for that type of fantastic type of material that we love, that actually is now all over the place. So, and with all the streaming services, it makes it a lot easier that you could put something out. Comic really doesn't have to sell it all, but it just becomes here's my, pitch piece, then to go and, get a show on Netflix or Prime or anything else. So it's,
Your IP.
I think that's how people are looking at it now. And it's not even necessarily to sell a bunch of comics, because especially when you're doing Kickstarter and everything else, that's not really practical.
Yeah.
I think the only guy who's really a legend on Kickstarter would be Polito.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now, Kevin, didn't you co-create Siren with Hank over at Malibu?
I wouldn't really say co-create.
Okay.
No.
All
Yeah,
right.
no, I mean, I don't remember all the particulars, but I didn't design her right away.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
thinking that you
designed
did.
her.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, Jerome might have done that.
Jerome Moore. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why was
Yeah,
I
I think
thinking
that
that
was
it
it.
was you?
No.
Maybe it's just because Hank kept always talking about you and he were going to do a project.
Well, there you go. There you go. I soak into your head like a fungus.
Yeah, it can. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm like a bacteria.
Do you ever
Good
talk
to
to
know.
Hank these days?
Yes, actually.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, we might have a project we're going to be getting started in the near future.
Excellent. I am
Cool.
excited to hear
Very
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Tell
yeah.
him
Well,
hi from
he's
me.
gonna be
I-
doing the editor. He's gonna be editing on the thing basically. And,
Okay.
Because he's with that new company
Right.
that he just started with, that digital outfit or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And
Hi
so
from me.
yeah, we're gonna be working on a book. It's just all the the fine print needs to be straightened out, I guess.
Sure.
We've already started doing prelims and talking about it. And,
Now, is it a
have
comic?
talk with the writers.
Is it a comic?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you mention the writers, or is it too early?
You know what? Probably too early.
Okay, all right.
NDAs
Well,
are tricky
You'll
business.
jinx it.
and-
You got to be.
You know
we
what?
have superstitions in this.
Yeah. So we'll once it's all announced, we'll get you back on, and you can talk about it then.
Yeah.
Works for
Now
me.
pitch it.
Vic says, Kevin, have you ever met Mike Gusevich during your time at DC?
Did not ever meet him, especially back in the day, but we've ended up being, Facebook pals. So I was talking to him a bit. He had an idea that he was bouncing around. He, wanted to know if I was interested in working on and whatnot. It's a cool idea. It wasn't for me though. What it would have involved, but it was a fun idea, and I hope he ends up going ahead and getting that going. But yeah, so no, I mean, I chat with him now from time to time on either comments or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, he's a nice guy. Seems like a really, really nice guy. So.
Yeah. Vic doesn't know. Vic's a youngster. He's not really sure what Facebook is.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's the one that's not TikTok.
Right.
I've actually learned to use TikTok, and yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, you did pretty good, Barb.
I know. I need to get started again.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time before we see a dance video.
No. That's Tommy. Tommy Floramonte owes me a pole dance.
He does. He really does.
He does.
Okay, that took a turn.
You
Didn't
wanna
that coming,
see
but all right,
That
let's
took a
dive in.
turn.
All
Yeah,
right,
I sent Tommy a message and I said, "Dude, you need to jump on tonight." And he hadn't responded. So
He said that if we
perfectly willing
reached,
and excited to talk about pole dances.
yes, he said if we reached over a certain dollar mark on Divinity #1, and he would do a pole dance, and we did, and I have yet to see that pole dance.
yep.
I
And he owes OCD. He owes them a twerk. He said he would twerk for them, and they have yet to get that as well. So
He's a lot of promises.
We're
a lot
gonna
of
have to do
promises
that at
coming out of
Daytona.
this guy.
We're going to have to do that at Daytona.
yeah.
would need brain bleach for that.
Yeah. Well, if it's not filmed, it don't exist. So as far as I'm concerned, we need footage.
Right. Vic says, "I use Facebook to harass Rob on it."
Yes, he does.
Everything's got a purpose.
Facebook Messenger. Yeah.
I don't get Facebook messages from Vic. I get tweet message. What are the private Twitter messages called? I don't even know what those things are called.
Twits?
I don't know.
Twits.
Yeah.
Yeah, Romo Hart says receipts. Yeah, I get these private Twitter messages from Vic, so I don't even know what those are called.
I didn't even
Private
know there
messages?
was such a thing.
Exciting, a happy
Tweeters.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. Anyway.
Hey guys,
Sure.
listen, I gotta go. I actually usually gotta punk out or a little earlier than this, so
Yeah,
Good to
well,
see you
we
guys.
actually have run over our time limit,
Yeah,
so
we're
we should
supposed
probably
to end at 8
Yeah.
Central Time or 9 Eastern, but we've gone beyond that.
That's because
Yep,
Kevin's
that's
so
true.
fun.
Yeah,
Well,
this is
it's
good
only
fun.
like 5 after 6 where I'm sitting or whatever.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Now I can see the live feed. Oh, it turns out my watch is a couple minutes up. I can restart
All right,
now
I'll
that
see
I
you
know what
guys.
time it is.
Right. Bye, Brent.
Yep. Bye, Brent.
Oh my goodness! Vic says, "You want me to use Facebook or something?" Romo says, "Tweets, guys. I didn't have to ask my millennial wife that." Yeah, I'll bet. Hyper says, "We can do that. Maybe I need Facebook." Hyper doesn't use Facebook. I get private twits or whatever they're called from Hyper as well.
Direct
DMs.
Yeah.
There's
and
a
then
lot of twits on Twitter.
Right.
Which is
yeah.
why I don't want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not interested. It's
Hyper says, "It's a Kevin party. No curfew."
There you go.
Bring on the beer.
He's gonna be careful, Hyper. He's gonna turn on some Iron Maiden here in a minute.
That's right.
There you go. Little run for the hills.
That you got it. Yep. Yeah. Sorry.
Getting a little nostalgic there.
Yeah. Kevin and I used to spend a lot of time talking about music, Iron Maiden, back in the day.
Well, I'm a Metallica fan myself, so
What did I do? Megadeth. when we were doing
Dave Mustaine.
thing. Yeah, Dave. I almost met Dave, except he had like. Oh, this is actually kind of a crazy story.
Okay, story
So
time.
we were doing San Diego, and Heavy Metal. They the band had put out this like big greatest hits box set, right? So we put out this art book that was basically short stories that were either directly based on the song or inspired by each one of these songs that's on the album. So I did one of those stories, which was cool. That was a lot of fun to do. I got to draw, Vic Rattlehead in medieval times. So I got armored Vic Rattlehead banging around, causing trouble with a giant sword. And Dave Mustaine was supposed to come because we basically, any of the artists that had worked on the book, we all gathering at the Heavy Metal table on like Sunday afternoon, something like that. And we're all going to sign this book. And Dave was supposed to be there to do it as well. I'm kind of like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Dave Mustaine. This is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Well, it turned out then he had I guess, if I'm not mistaken, my understanding is that I guess he had throat cancer at one point before that. And so he was in recovery. And then his doctor caught wind of what he wanted to do. And he basically told him, no, if you go to San Diego, you're not under my care.
Oh, wow.
This is ridiculous. Don't even do this thing. It's crazy. And so he didn't come. But a cool guy that he is, though, right? They ended up pulling they had a little small poster thing that the band at the time, they were all over the place. They were like in different parts of the country. I think one of them was in a different part of the world, whatever. So Mustaine then basically is just shipping this thing all over the place to every one of these guys so they could all sign it. And then it was included with the book.
Sweet.
So we've never done anything like that, have we?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was really nice and really cool thing to do because I guess he really was upset that he couldn't actually go to this show. And,
wow.
But I guess that's, like I say, I don't know him, don't know anything about him, but apparently that's just how he rolls. He's just all into it. So
I got to sit next to Lita Ford in San Diego Comic-Con and sign autographs. Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't break out in song. Kiss me once, kiss me deadly. Pop says, I sat across the aisle from Dave Mustaine at a Coyotes NHL game. He didn't know much about hockey back then. Spent half the game explaining every blown whistle. It was a Red Wings versus Coyotes. Remember, it was like it was yesterday.
I sat
Very cool.
I sat at supper time with the rapper Neo. I had supper with him
I'm
out
lost.
at San Diego Comic-Con
Yeah.
a few years ago.
San
Very
Diego
nice
Comic-Con
guy.
was always cool for something like that. You'd go out to eat with a group of people. Next thing you know, you're sitting next to somebody. You're like, holy cow, I know who you are.
Oh, yeah, people on elevators. I mean, whatever.
Right.
It's got to be kind of crazy out there this year with the strike and whatnot.
Well,
I guess.
yes.
Well, and I'm also wondering how it's going to be different. And of course, I didn't say anything, but neither Marvel or DC are set up this year. And there's going to be no Marvel Hall H stuff. So,
Well,
I
yeah,
just-
right. Obviously. I mean,
So you mean
nothing but promotion?
They're going to
for
actually
these
have to go
things.
old school and focus on comics?
that's what I'm wondering. I'm real curious to see, what folks say.
Well,
I think
yeah.
I think the way the dust settled on the thing is that they deem that celebs can go to cons, but they can just go and talk about themselves and stuff like this. They can't start talking about any projects they're working
They
on
can't
or any
promote
future
anything.
projects.
Yeah.
Right, can't
Yeah.
promote anything studio related.
I
But
had
if you
this
want to go,
cat.
It's like, I wonder why. That doesn't make sense.
right. If you want to go ask him, if he prefers, Browns or Church's fried chicken, then you can.
Exchange
Browns.
cat pictures,
Yeah, whatever.
Dave's
So
still
I think
listening to
that's
us.
the way it
He's
goes.
he's still in line at San Diego Comic-Con, and he goes, it's still pretty busy here, even on preview night.
Dedication. That's
Yep.
dedication.
There you go. Well, I think it's probably going to affect San Diego more than other shows. I mean, when you start dealing with smaller shows, and everyone's having celebrities these days, which is
Yeah.
great. It drives the crowds and everything. You gotta have it. You can't complain about it, really. But I think San Diego is probably the most that's really more about announcements and here's
Yeah.
what's coming out and big date premieres. And you know, when Marvel was
And
doing
they
like
can't
their
do any of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
right,
this year.
exactly.
Can't
I mean,
do
None of
because
a
it.
bit of that.
let's be honest. There's going to be a couple of actors at Peoria this weekend. Now, SAG-AFTRA is not looking. Let's go look at Peoria and see what's going on. You know, they're not going to care. They're not going to even notice. They're going to only notice the big events.
So are they not supposed
I
to
would say
do?
yes and no. If one of these guys shows up at one of these small shows and starts yapping away on projects or whatever, people are going to be posting the living shit out of that.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're going to find out. They don't have to necessarily go watch.
Since no
for
one
it.
else is talking about
They're
stuff,
gonna
yeah,
find
that'll
out.
be big news. So
you
it'll
don't want
get
to
out,
be
and
crossing the
they
picket
could be
line.
they could be heavily fined for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
It
yeah.
would be out.
To make things interesting.
Yeah.
Because
So I
some of
think,
these small shows that they're going to bring in the guy who did Boba Fett on not on the Amazon or the Disney Plus channel, but
Right.
the Boba Fett on like the smaller man. I don't remember his name. The young guy played the Boba Fett. Anyway, so people are going to line up to see this guy, right?
Yeah.
And then they're going to get in there, and he's going to say, "I can't talk about anything Star Wars."
I can't talk about anything
Yeah.
you want me to talk about.
Well,
Right.
I don't know how it is at the other shows, but I know at the Kansas City Planet Comic Con, they have long lines of folks just to get photographs and autographs from them.
Sure.
And you might have a total of 30 seconds to talk to them.
Yeah.
So
for the
they're not
most
really
part, right,
promoting
right.
anything. They're
Right.
they're just signing papers, and a lot of them will have a stack of photographs, and you pay a bunch of money to buy a photograph,
Yep.
or you get a picture taken with them. And
Sure.
so they're not really
Yeah, that
promoting
is
anything
actually-
except
that's true.
themselves in
Very
a case
true.
like that.
Right.
So
That's true.
I think
That's
that would work.
You know, I
think
think
that's
you got the
allowed.
other thing as well. And when you have some of these older retire actors, say like the guy played Billy Batson on Shazam in 1976, are they even still in the union? And if they've completely retired and
They could
through it
they
all,
could do and say
they
whatever.
can do whatever
yeah.
they want. They can go talk Lost in Space all day long if they're not actually
Yeah.
still part of the union. So
And somebody else made another really, really good point about this is that unless you're an A or even maybe a B-list actor, these conventions are a really important source of
Yeah.
income for you.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
because
yeah.
a lot of these actors, you wouldn't believe it, but they're holding down muggle jobs when they're not acting, you know?
sure.
Hey,
Well,
we know
and
that.
again, the nostalgia crowd. I mean, you got
Yeah.
guys like Lou Ferrigno or
Mhm.
Reb Brown. I mean, that's their career now. They go to these shows, and that's what they do. And actually, it's
Yeah,
the same
he's-
with a lot of the artists too that
Yep.
are our age. Some of these guys, they couldn't generate comic work anymore. There's a handful of them, and you just it's like world tours. You'll find them at different shows every
Yep.
weekend, and I think once you start showing up at these things, then it's probably more of a grassroots thing. Then you start to develop relationships with the people who live in those cities, and then you're gonna see a steady stream. So it would probably work better than if you're just a once in a blue moon kind of show up. So
Yeah.
I guess there is that, but there's a handful of them that I know that have basically just been doing that as their job now, as their business now. So they concentrate on putting together new art for prints and all this other kind of stuff and doing.
I do
commission
know
work.
that there was some pushback at SAG-AFTRA from some of the smaller list actors that were saying, listen, because at first they said, you can't go to conventions at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there
they're
was a
Really?
lot of
confused
I
at
didn't
pushback.
realize
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah.
Why?
They did
Why?
say
Why?
that at one
Why
point.
were they telling they couldn't do that?
And there was a lot of pushback because a lot of these actors saying, look, that's a very vital part of our income.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't let them do that.
Yeah, I think they relented, and mostly for the reasons I just said. If you're just sitting there signing autographs and selling photos, that's a whole different.
You're
thing
not promoting
from-
something new. Yeah.
You're not promoting anything but yourself. I mean,
Absolutely.
of course, you're building on what you've done. If you've been in Star Trek, that's why everybody's coming to see you. But if you're not saying, I'm going to be in this next Star Trek movie or whatever, then that's a whole different deal. But I think just selling
you're
your
absolutely
autograph
right.
and
It's
selling
all promo.
photos is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's
because then you could easily too just talk to the guy. How'd you get started? What were your influences? I mean,
Yeah.
you can literally just go down the bio checklist of things that people would find interesting to talk about. with with these people, same as anything else. You don't necessarily have to have that. Tell me about what's coming up in the next movie. If you're looking for little
now if
pieces
they're
on the
doing
film,
panels, that gets into a
That's
whole other
where it
problem.
gets tricky.
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky because a lot of times they'll be asked questions, and I'm sorry I can't talk about that because of SAG-AFTRA, and there won't be much to talk about on the panel. So I bet a lot of panels will get eliminated because
panels. Yeah, panels definitely will. I mean, I think you still can have some same kind of deal,
yeah.
how-to panel kind of things.
Yeah, or let's talk about last season, right? Hey, all this stuff happened last season. What was how did you how did you do all this and that kind of
I think even that's kind of iffy.
Really?
I think
so.
If you're an actor, my take would be if it's still like live, if it's still an active show. Say the people doing Sandman, I'm sure it's not in their best interest to talk about the past season of Sandman, but not the current, not the next one. I don't think they're going to touch it. Actually.
Yep, I think that's right.
Well, it'll be interesting to see all the people talking about San Diego in a week.
It will be different.
Yeah, I think so.
Be different.
Yeah,
and I don't think it'll be bad.
I don't think so.
Be a good difference.
I'm really
I think it'll be a good difference.
I think I'm actually looking forward to how it turns out because
yeah,
I stopped going regularly in about 2001, and even then it was getting more media focused and away from comics, and comics was getting shoved into this little corner, and I'm like, why are you calling it San Diego Comic Con if it's going to be multimedia? Why don't you call it San Diego Entertainment Con or something?
Pop culture.
Well, that pop culture
yeah,
part of it is actually part of its like gigantic full title. But you know what though? I always look at San Diego as a different story, and San Diego is just simply a different beast now. San Diego is never going to be all about comics, and San Diego can't survive being all about comics. It's not what it is anymore.
The bigger shows can't be. No.
Yeah, right, exactly. If anybody's going to take a pounding
like that too.
with the actor strike, it's going to be San Diego. And as far as the rest of them go, I mean, the bottom line, as much as we all love our books and love what we've grown up with and everything else, the idea that somehow films or anything else can mirror the book we read in the 70s, no, it can't. It just can't. And the bigger audience, you're seeing millions of people showing up for a superhero movie, and a couple 100,000 of them have read the comic, and the rest of it have no idea what's going on, but they want to be entertained. So this constant, they got it wrong. Well, if it made money, they didn't get it wrong. So
right.
Exactly what they
That's
wanted.
right.
Yeah.
That's it. Because that's what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah, well, sure, and that's what it should be about. They're in the business of making films and everything. They're not in the business of building these little nostalgia dreams for anybody who grew up with this stuff.
That's right.
It's not their goal. It's not their purpose. The comic stuff is just properties. Yeah. I always look at them as two separate things, and it's just kind of like and quite frankly, some of the changes they've made, I've actually thought were better than the comics, to tell you the truth.
I would agree. I would agree.
Well, Tony Stark creating Ultron makes a shitload more sense than Hank Pym, biogeneticist, creating this robot that's going to evolve and take over the world. How does that work?
This is true. Yeah. This is true. Well, and that's why they consider to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's a whole different universe than the comics universe. There's multiverses out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, it's like you go and you see those characters, and if you like them, then you enjoy it. But it's not going to be the comic book characters, and you have to separate that in your head. If you expect it to be, you're going to hate it. You're always going to be disappointed, and you're going to spend most of your time bad-mouthing it, saying, they're done.
I will only badmouth it if they try to bring on a different guy to play Tony Stark rather than.
Oh, see, and I want them to do that.
I don't mind if they have son of Tony Stark.
Yeah, see, in my opinion, the characters are more important than the actors. I would rather see.
So iconic.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think Robert Downey Jr. is great as Iron Man. I think Chris Evans is great as Captain America. But if these guys are done, if they want to move on, that's fine. Find somebody else who can then also do the. I mean, they've done it with James Bond. They've done it with all kinds. Why can you not? You can do it with Captain America. You can do it with Iron Man.
Ding, 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 We brought in James Bond. Okay. We've also talked Star Wars and Star Trek, so we've
Oh, you guys doing the drinking game. You guys doing the drinking game.
it's a Wednesday night thing that we can't go a
Well, I
single
brought up Star
podcast without
Trek too,
mentioning
so,
Star
yeah.
Trek, Star Wars, or James Bond.
Well, if it's a drinking game, you should have let me know. I'd be constantly right now.
Star Wars.
Hey, Bob. Chug.
Right, yeah.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, anyway.
All right, I
As he
need to
takes
get
a
out of
drink.
here pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
It has. It has.
And we need to have Kevin back again after he's
Yes.
started his new project so he can come on and promote it.
Absolutely.
Or just if I saw something cool on TV.
Yes.
That's fine too. That's fine too.
We're here,
Well, I'll tell you
we're
what.
here every Wednesday,
We have
man.
3 podcasts, and this is only the Wednesday one. You can always go to the Sunday one with Roland.
You can go to the Sunday one, or we have one that's more in your time zone, and that's our Tuesday night guys. They run from 8 to 9:30 your time.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah, it's late my time. They don't start till 11 my time, but out on your time
And
zone.
that'd be
it's,
10 mine. So yeah.
It's you know what though? That's usually when I get out to the bar. So it's that's cutting into the end of my happy hour
Talk about the
time.
drinking game, eh? Okay.
I got to keep in practice.
You can do the trifecta and hit all 3 podcasts.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be fun. A whole different crew each
The
time.
trifecta.
That's right.
Yeah.
Different crew each time. Okay, let's wrap this up. You've got the controls,
Yes, I do.
and everybody, remember
Oh.
what to say. If
I
not,
found mine.
You found yours?
Yeah, because I've been moving, so it was lost.
Okay. Remember? Make mine.
Make mine Silverline.
Mine Silverline.
Hi, I'm Bill Black. I created FemForce. But you know what? Today, make mine Silverline.